Hey everyone, welcome to another exciting episode of Nerds on Tap, where we get nerdy for an hour with exciting discussions around entrepreneurship, business, and technology. Today, we have the amazing KeriAnne Dawson joining us on the show. KeriAnne is the founder and director of the Actors Den, she is a member of SAG, or the Screen Actors Guild, and AFTRA, the American Federation of Television and Radio Artists, since 1993. She has a variety of acting experiences, both on stage and screen, as well as in teaching and directing children's workshops and musical cabarets. She enjoys teaching aspiring actors the skills that they will need in order to develop characters in any. KeriAnne is a mom of two and a wife to an amazing local musician, so her favorite pastime is, of course, spending time with her family, cooking, watching movies, listening to lots of music, and taking walks on the beach at night. Welcome to the show, KeriAnne.
Thank you so much. Glad to be here. You've done your homework on me.
Well, if you've listened to this show before, What do we do first?
Stalk?
We drink a beer.
Oh, we drink a beer. Okay.
Tim, tell me what we're having. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Nerds on Tap. I'm your host, Tim Shute, and I couldn't be more excited to embark on this nerdy adventure with all of you. So grab your favorite brew, because things are about to get exciting.
3, 2, 1, go!
All right, so the first beer that we have is the Kentucky Vanilla Barrel Cream Ale from Lexington Brewing and Distilling Company. They took a cold-conditioned cream ale brewed with a hint of flaked corn and bourbon vanilla beans and aged it in a freshly decanted bourbon barrels for at least 6 weeks. Kentucky Vanilla Barrel Cream Ale's medium body makes it the perfect barrel-aged beer for an all-day event.
So, I'm a regular beer drinker. I like Pilsners and, of course, lagers. Yeah. So this, to me, it's not my style. Or do you want to taste yours?
Yes, I will do that. Let me grab it. Oh.
There you go.
It's kind of far away from me.
It's very... You know what? It tastes like Christmas.
You know what? It makes me want to open some presents.
Yeah, I know.
I like this.
Now I'm ready to decorate.
Yeah, I say cheers on that.
Cheers.
Yeah, that's nice. Yeah.
Cheers to you being on the show.
Oh, thank you so much. Glad to be here.
So, KeriAnne, tell me about your journey to Hollywood. I mean, I've seen pics of you from back in the day hugging, Billy Idol. Oh. Yeah. Paul Stanley, Gary Busey, Jay Leno, Vanilla Ice, Alice Cooper, and a few more, all of which I am a fan of. So,
yes,
you must have made more than just a splash.
I like that terminology there. Yeah, you know what? It's interesting how I ended up in Hollywood because my mother actually helped me get there. So my mother was managing Lake Forest Yacht Club in Daphne, Alabama, so very local. And I didn't have really a lot of inspiration there, to go to Hollywood at the time. But then they were working on a movie, I think on the USS Alabama in Mobile area, and they came in, the whole crew came in one night for dinner and drinks. And my mother's like, hey, here's a picture of my daughter. You guys need someone on the show or on the movie or whatever. And so, wow, she's beautiful. And it was way cuter back then. Had all, But one thing led to another. And then one of the girls actually, who was a makeup artist, really thought, she's like, you're so outgoing. You're so funny. You're so creative. You should come to Hollywood. And I was like, well, wow, I never thought about that before. So, okay, it was that simple for me. And then
the adventure begins.
The adventure did begin. So, like probably 2 weeks to a month after they wrapped up the film, I ended up moving to Hollywood. But I didn't really know I was going to move there yet. I was going to visit for 2 weeks, and then my mother ended up sending me macaroni and cheese and raviolis, and she's sending me stuff to Hollywood thinking, my daughter's not coming back home. She's going to stay out there, so I need to feed her, make sure she's eating. But one thing did lead to another. But I started off as a model. I was doing, I became a Hawaiian Tropic girl.
So I saw her Hawaiian Tropic
Did
girl
you?
on a postcard.
You did?
Yeah. I still,
okay.
So didn't you do a series of postcards
I did.
while you were out there?
I did, yes.
So was that one of the first gigs you had, or is
It wa-
that different than what we're talking about here?
It actually was one of the first gigs that I had as a model, because I started doing Venus swimwear too. And if you remember, there was Smut magazine, the National Enquirer, everything was just garbage, just,
Yeah.
I don't know if it was. But it was one of those interesting ads that they put in there, and you saw me running and jumping with my swimsuit on for Venus swimwear. So so that's how it started for me as just a model, and one thing kind of led to another.
Is that when you caught the bug? Because we all do at one point. It may not be at the beginning, might be in the middle. Some catch it later in life.
It's interesting, at the age that I was, Tim, I think for me, you didn't really.
How old were you?
I was 20.
20. Okay.
I was 20. Very naive 20-year-old, to be honest. I was smart, but I was
Weren't
naive,
we all?
at the time, because I didn't expect that. Everything that I saw on TV, I had no idea that I was going to be a part of that world.
Yeah.
So when I became a part of that world, it was just so surreal. It was unbelievable. It's like, am I really here? Pinch me,
Yeah.
People only dream about hanging out with and doing the things that I'm doing, hanging out with the people that you're hanging out with, and modeling, and just working on the set. One thing led to another. But then after that, I ended up getting an agent, and the agency just started sending me out on stuff. So I was in all the old shows. There's this old show called Models Inc., and I played one of the models. So that was just right up my alley
Very
at the
cool.
time. Yeah,
Very
it was
cool.
very cool. I didn't know where it was going to go. But I thought, well, this is exciting, and I'm a part of it, and it was just, it was so simple for me, because you just walked on the set and you did what they asked you to do, and you made friends, and they made it easy, because you become family when you're on the set, for a long time. And then
So you didn't know prior to 20-year-old KeriAnne, you didn't know that was a path you were going to take.
I did
What
not.
were you originally going to grow up to be?
I always thought I was going to be a nurse.
A nurse.
I really did.
Well, that's a change.
Well, it is. It is. And I did do 6 months of prerequisites.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did 6 months of prerequisites. Oh my God. And then I ended up doing medical assisting stuff, because there was a year wait to get into the nursing program. But I thought, what am I going to do? I need something to fall back on, So I just started doing, medical stuff. But I realized when I went into the medical field that it wasn't for me at all.
We carry that acting bug in common. I mean, what we're doing now.
Yes.
This is my backup.
Yes,
This is my, IT was my backup.
Yes.
I wanted to be an actor.
And I want to ask you about that, actually.
Well, something a lot of people don't know is I caught the acting bug at a really early age. I did plays in elementary, in middle school.
Yes.
And in middle school, I was living in Munich, Germany. I was going to an American high school there, middle school. I was in 8th grade, moved back here in 9th grade. And in 8th grade, they were filming a movie in Munich called Inside the Third Reich.
Oh, wow.
And it was a big production, huge production. They had all the craft trailers and all the, and it was so they came to our school scouting 7th and 8th graders.
Wow.
And they were looking to pick two kids to be in this movie that they needed, and they needed kids that spoke English because the director was American.
Okay.
And there were a lot of Germans on set. And I was one of 2 kids selected out of several hundred kids.
Really?
And I guess I had the look because
It's a compliment.
there was no audition. It was all about the look.
Yeah.
And I play a homeless kid, which was not far off from my first bout in Hollywood. Play a homeless kid. There's a fight that breaks out. I'm kind of like an extra, but I'm crying. They wanted me to cry.
Wow.
And I'm in this alleyway crying, and then the fight opens up and it zooms in on me.
They asked you to cry, and you just were able to produce?
They were like, you're either going to be a paper boy or you're going to be a homeless kid. And it was middle of winter. It was ice cold outside. And they put me in these ripped up garbs.
Oh, my.
They cut my hair. They did all this stuff. I was in a
Wow.
trailer getting ready. And I thought, oh, my God, this is awesome. I love this life.
It's a good feeling,
I
yeah.
had my own trailer with these other two
Wow.
kids. It was freaking cool. But
Yeah.
that was my first bug. And then fast forward,
Wonderful.
moved to Hollywood when I was 24, 25 years old.
Really?
Yeah.
So you're a late bloomer out there.
I was a
24,
late
okay.
bloomer. Well, I had just gotten out of the Navy.
Oh, okay.
And I was literally 1 week out of the Navy, and I traveled to Hollywood with no contacts, nothing. And I lived in a tent
So you came out of the Navy.
several months.
And you just like, I want to go to Hollywood.
Yeah. My dad was mad.
What a big transition.
My dad told me I was going to be a bum.
Oh,
Because you're going to be a bum. And I said, Dad, I'm going to be the best damn bum California's ever seen. And I was. So, but I will, to this day,
Yeah.
since Hollywood, I haven't eaten another beanie weenie,
Oh, no
another
ramen
bag
noodles.
of ramen noodles, saltines,
Yeah.
and peanut butter and jelly. I just.
Well, you have a wife now, so she's probably
Yeah,
making
exactly.
sure that.
But
that's not
I
gonna
lived
happen.
off of that for several months
Yeah.
and upgraded to a small studio apartment
Yeah.
and then just kind of progressed from there. And had I not gone to California
Yeah.
to do that, I wouldn't have met the mentors that got me back into this industry and helped me develop in this industry.
That's
So,
wonderful.
Fate.
Everything is fate, I think.
Yeah.
Fate is a hunter. I mean, it does find us,
Yeah.
no matter what you do. While we're busy planning, I think life is taking over sometimes with us. But that's wonderful. So I want to know about the tent living. I mean,
It was
I see that a
interesting.
lot.
So this is funny because I couldn't afford to stay at a normal campground.
Oh,
Normal campground at the time was probably $15 to $25 a night.
oh,
I didn't
wow.
have any money.
wow.
I had, and now I wasn't completely destitute. I mean, I had a Jeep.
Oh,
I had a credit card, but I chose to live that way because I was trying to get out of my rut so I could get on my feet. And the campground or where I stayed on the beach was an overnighter for RVs. So all it had was a picnic table, a fire pit, and a faucet that stuck up out of the ground.
Oh.
So when I wanted to shower
that was my next question. Yeah, so
every 3 or 4 days, I would, yeah, I know I stunk. I would drive down to this campground that took quarters in a shower.
oh, God.
And I would feed it quarters and take a shower every few
Oh,
days.
God.
So yeah, I was
Really
that stinky kid going to auditions, and
Did it smell like a urinal by any chance at that place?
it might have, But that's my story. That's how I kind of started, and then I kind of just grew
I think that's an
into it
interesting
from there.
story. And I think it's great that you're telling it because, I think it gives people hope too that, they can go through some hard times and some hardships and come out being successful sometimes.
Here's what, and let me ask you to maybe give your knowledge to the audience on taking the leap or not. My quote would be, do it while you're young, because life happens as you get older.
It does.
And it would be hard, almost impossible for me to just go now and try that all over. But when you're young, you got stories to tell your grandchildren.
It's absolutely true. I think that back in the day, though, when we were in Hollywood, I think it was a lot. I mean, I hate to say it, but it's true. I think it was easier back
You
in the.
think it was?
I do.
Even with the access
I
to
do.
YouTube and all the media outlets they have now?
Well, now I feel like everything is. There's just too much technology involved for me. I like the naturalness of how it used to
Yeah.
be in Hollywood, where if I auditioned,
Headshots.
yeah, yes, I
Resume
love.
on the back.
Yes, because when they see your face, they get to see your personality. It's like you're
Yeah.
a talking headshot, just walking in. They get to
Yeah.
hear you and see your facial expressions and how they can change and how you're not just this one person in that headshot. And I got to go to Paramount, parked my car, and it's like, oh, KeriAnne, blah, blah, blah.
Cool.
Come in, park my car, and I auditioned for commercials and stuff like that. It was a lot of fun because you got to meet people. You got to actually be physically there. And it just seemed easier for me. I don't know why. And I got accepted more. But then again, that was the age. We didn't have all this technology. We didn't have, the internet. We didn't have like cell phones back in the day. You just got a phone call.
It
Hey,
definitely
can you
made it
audition?
hard.
Yeah.
I think I had either a pager or
A pager, yes.
Yeah,
I had pagers.
and that was that's
Yes.
actually the number that was on I had a little business card
Oh,
with my
yeah.
headshot on it. It
Yes.
said Tim Shoe. I still have that.
Do you really?
Yeah, it's funny.
Oh.
It doesn't
yeah,
look
see
any.
that.
My daughter's
Well, of course
like,
not.
Dad,
You're
that
different.
doesn't look anything like you. I go, well, it was me. It was me
It's-
a long, long time ago.
It's interesting. But nowadays, kids are doing, they're auditioning at home. They can audition in the comforts of their own homes, and they set up like a little gray, a sheet,
Yeah.
or they buy a backdrop and they set up their lighting and their cameras. They do it
Yeah.
with their iPhones now. You don't have to set up all this, you don't have a whole lot going on. You just set up your iPhone and a few lighting.
But other than the ease of being able to prep and do what they're doing,
Yeah.
doesn't it create more competition in the space? Because now anybody can do it.
You're absolutely right about that. It goes back to the fate thing. You either have it or you don't, right? You
Yeah.
got to have that look that they're looking for, the eye color, the hair, the
Timing.
yes. You have to be right for the part. I mean, exactly right. I really think that there is a lot of competition. I think it hinders a lot of people. I have some of my students that are actually signed with agents right now, and they're feeling a little defeated right now because of the fact that
Oh, no.
it's not happening quick enough for them. They want to get that big role, they're waiting for that big role. And I said, well, just hang in there, because what's happening is we had to go through COVID. So we had COVID happen that shut down everything. It slowed down everything. It stopped everything in its tracks. And then we had the SAG-AFTRA strike, which stopped production, which stopped everything in its tracks. So now everything's playing catch up. So I say to my students now, if you get signed, well, look, they obviously like you. They want you. They've accepted you because they saw you perform through maybe over Zoom or through a self-tape, and they like you. So that's a wonderful thing. Your foot's in the door, so don't stop.
But I'm sure you share your wisdom about a lot of these old school actors
I do.
that spent their lives in Hollywood without making a splash. And then one day in their 40s, some of them who was it? Not Christopher Walken. Christopher Walken, there was some of them, very famous actors that hit in their 40s and 50s.
Yeah, there's
there's
a few that actually did.
But they had been doing it for 20, 25 years.
That's right. It's so funny. One of the biggest sayings out there was when you went to a restaurant in Hollywood to eat, and you would ask, they would say, yeah, I'm an actor too, and they're waiting tables and this and that, but they finally do get their break. Oh gosh.
Every time I would go into a bar and mingle,
Yeah.
and a girl would ask me, oh, what do you do? And I'd go, I'm an actor. And they'd go, oh, yeah, what restaurant?
Dude, seriously?
I swear to God. I go,
that's- Well, that's
moving
funny.
on.
That's so funny.
Because I
It's
thought it was cool to
hysterical.
say I'm an actor. And,
It is.
You know.
So I actually did a short film with John Cryer from Two and a
Oh,
Half
cool.
Men.
Yeah,
and,
I know John
And
Cryer.
of course, he
That's
was
cool.
Ducky and Pretty in Pink, one of my all-time favorite movies.
very good movie.
So it was called The Waiter, and it was a short film. And so I just had a small little part in it, but a friend of mine was directing it and wrote it and everything. It was very interesting because it was the opposite. So he was trying to be a waiter, not an actor. And so it was really interesting because he wanted to be the head waiter. It was just a meme going on in Hollywood about like everybody wants to be an actor, so everybody's a waiter or waitress.
Yeah.
And this was a reversal, so it was just really funny.
Who
It was
wrote that?
hysterical.
Who
You're
do
gonna.
you remember?
I don't remember offhand,
just love
but I
that
can get back to
concept.
you on that because I do have it.
Because it's such a real concept.
Yeah,
out
I have
there.
the VHS. It's how old it was, but it was a great concept.
So I'm going to keep moving on here. We're
Yeah.
going to get into some more fun stuff before we go into segment 2 when we get really nerdy and start talking about AI and acting.
Oh boy.
But before we do, let's get into some fun questions. So what shows or movies are you currently hooked on or would you recommend? Now, this is totally off the subject of acting. Let's just get into some fun freelance stuff.
If we're talking about a series, I am from the 80s, so I'm a big, huge Cobra Kai fan, and
Okay.
and I love Stranger Things because it's about the
Yeah.
80s as well. So I'm all about
I've
that.
seen all those.
And Outlander.
Okay.
I love the period pieces a lot because it takes me back in time.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen it yet?
No, I haven't gotten into Outlander.
Wow, wonderful show. Wonderful show.
I am caught up on Yellowstone.
Yeah,
Now,
Yellowstone. Yeah.
this is the funny thing. I had this conversation the other day with someone. My favorite Yellowstones are the prequels, like 1923, I think it was, in 1883.
Yes.
Just because of the era, piece
Of
part
course,
of it, and
yes.
the costumes and the
You like that,
historical facts.
Yes.
In the way that, just
What does it
taking
make you
into
feel
it.
like? What does it make you feel
It
like?
takes
when
you
see
there.
that?
It
Yeah,
takes you
does.
there. And it's kind of it's wow.
Yeah.
I had no idea that they had to cross. There's a scene, I think it's in 1883, where they're crossing a small
The
river.
small river, yeah.
And how difficult that was at that time with a carriage.
Did you
So,
see that?
yeah,
That
it was
oh my
insane.
God. Yeah. So what shows are you following?
I finished Cobra Kai. I've
Did you?
watched Yellowstone. I'm watching.
What about Outer Banks? Did you ever get on?
I
that
don't
one?
get into Outer
Okay.
Banks.
It's
I'm
for
watching
the
a
young
weird
ones, I guess,
little,
but I
a
like
weird,
it.
a weird little poppy show right now called AI Bio.
Oh, I haven't.
It's kind of a quirky little show I've been following. So, are there any you commonly hear from students that inspired them to get into acting?
I get a lot of, when I was younger, I just always wanted to act. I just found it fun. I
Yeah.
get a lot of the simplicity of why they want to do acting.
Yeah.
It's really cute, actually, because I'll ask them, why do you want to be an actor? Well, who's your favorite actor? What is your favorite movie? And if you were stuck sitting in a movie theater for the whole day, and you can pick any movie that you want to watch, and it can only be one, and you can watch it over and over and over, what movie would it be? It kind of allows me to get to know them a little bit. It allows me to see what they like, know what they like, and why. And it gives me, a big heads up on their character and what they want. And then I'll ask them the same thing about music. If you're stuck in an elevator for like an hour, what would be your favorite song? But I get a lot of different answers. I have one that's really cute. She's so funny. I said, if you could play a role, what role would you play and why? And she goes, well, I want to be a mafia wife. And she goes into Goodfellas. Now, this little girl, she's 13 years old.
Wow.
But her dad's Italian. They're Italian family. They're out of, New Jersey. And I just couldn't believe it. She knows everything. She's watched every mafia movie out there, and she wants to play a role as a mafia wife, and she's so serious. She just is so serious. I couldn't believe it. I was like, so nothing else? Like, that's it. But she won me over just because it's like, I understand. I come from an Italian family, so I get how they are. And, they love those movies.
It's funny talking about what inspired us to be actors or whatever. I think you and I knew from a very early age we were going to be actors, but what inspired me to make the move to Hollywood?
Yeah.
I worked a 4-on, 4-off shift in the Navy, and I was on my way out, and I was trying to figure out my next thing, and I hadn't yet set on going to Hollywood. I was still trying to figure out where I was going to go, what I was going to do.
Right.
And I popped a People magazine open to the centerfold, and it was a whole article on Brad Pitt, this new up-and-coming actor in 94, 95. I don't know if A River Runs Through It or what was that other big movie he did.
Thelma and Louise?
No.
Okay.
It was
Oh,
big production where...
Okay,
Tim?
I'm drawing a blank.
Come on, Tim. Anyway,
I don't know.
no
I can
idea.
look it up though.
I'm going to shout it out as soon as it
He'll
hits
come
my-
up with it. But
my head
here's...
here.
I read that article. He went out there with like $300 in his
Yes.
pocket and a little red... He called it the red runabout.
Yeah.
It was
yeah.
a rabbit, I
It was,
think.
yeah.
And, he went to a reading with a girlfriend of his, and she was up for a part, and he was just in there to read
Right.
with her, and they
Yes.
picked him.
It's, yeah, I'm going to, Juliette Lewis.
I think that's...
Yeah, that was his girlfriend. I think she got him started in the business,
Yeah.
I believe. and she was doing What's Eating Gilbert Grape.
Oh, yeah,
and stuff
yeah,
like
yeah.
that. Yeah.
Yeah.
They were a nice couple.
That's what, Leo in that.
So a couple of his older movies, The Dark Side of the Sun, Happy Together, Cutting Class, Johnny Suede, Thelma and Louise,
These are all before.
Yeah.
Cool World,
Before.
A River Runs Through It, 1992, California, 1993,
I do.
True
Yes.
Romance,
It's on one of my walls. I haven't
Interview
touched.
with the Vampire was 1994.
The one where he
That's
has the
one of
two
my
brothers.
personal
Yeah,
favorite.
with the two
The one with
brothers
the two
and
brothers
the dad.
and the dad. The shotgun. out.
Legends of the
Legends
Fall.
of the Fall.
Yes.
That's the movie.
Oh, what a wonderful
Such
movie
a.
that
Now I want to
was.
go back and watch it
I do
again.
too.
I haven't seen
Did
that
you
in
cry?
years.
Did you tear up when the dad
Yes.
came out?
Oh my God! It's
Get
just
away from my.
such
Oh,
good
God.
acting, and that's what elevated
Phenomenal.
him. Having those actors
Yes.
around him.
Yes. Oh, yes.
So
I love that movie so much.
let's close this segment and go into AI. Let's finish up by share one fun fact or memorable moment from your career. One thing that you can think about that just pops in your head that was just a cool moment.
Probably working on Baywatch.
Okay, well, you were on Baywatch.
Yes, I was on Baywatch for like 3 years, on and off. It wasn't every day, but
Yeah.
it was weekly to every 2
You
weeks.
were a lifeguard.
I was a second unit lifeguard.
Okay.
And also a little background here and there if they needed me on the set. But yeah, I still have my bathing suit.
So you were hanging out with Pamela Anderson.
Yes.
And David
yes.
Hasselhoff.
I was hanging out with him. So one of the funniest things that occurred to me on just now was the fact that I'm walking along and we're on a break. So it was cut, let's go eat, the whole thing. David Hasselhoff was funny. He got along with everybody. He
Yeah.
just talked to everybody. And he's like, I went to walk off and he goes, hey, yeah. He goes, do you work out? Not really, only on the beach here. You know, it was just so funny to me because I really didn't work out. Because back in the day when you're in your early 20s, you don't have to do a whole lot of working out.
Because your metabolism.
Your metabolism was there. But I just thought it was so funny. But Little Richard was on the show.
Oh wow.
And Little Richard, and I'll never forget this moment. In a nutshell version, we were sitting on top of a picnic table, and he was getting ready to do his scene, you know, on the show, and he was a guest on the show. And anyway, he says to me, "I'm just so nervous. I'm so nervous." I'm like, "Why are you nervous? Do you know who you are?
Yeah.
Do you understand who you are?" But I think he was older and he was just nervous. So he wanted to do the right thing and be the right. But I found that really touching that he was opening up to me.
Yeah.
I didn't even know he didn't know me.
They're humans.
And
mean-
I thought that was a very defining moment for me because of the fact that he was human. He was just so down to earth,
Yeah.
so sweet, so nice, so gentle to everybody on the set, you know, just like family, you know.
That's awesome.
Very personable guy. But yeah, that was it.
Tim, what's our next beer?
All right, so our next one in line is the Abita Root Beer from the Abita Brewing Company in Abita Springs, Louisiana. Abita Root Beer is made with a hop mix process using spring water, herbs, vanilla, and yucca, which creates foam. Unlike most soft drink manufacturers, Abita sweetens its root beer with pure Louisiana cane sugar. The resulting taste is a reminiscent of soft drinks made in the 1940s and 1950s before bottlers turned to corn sugar and fructose.
Yeah, so this is good.
Yes.
Yeah, so some soft drink makers add caffeine to their product, but Abita is naturally caffeine-free.
Oh, wow.
It's very good. Definitely a throwback root beer.
I love that.
It's
like old times.
It's sweet.
It is,
I'm not,
yeah.
you
It
know,
is
I don't
sweet.
eat a lot of sugar,
Yeah.
so that definitely hit me.
I
But
think only a few sips and you're good. Right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I like the vanilla.
Very tasty.
Yeah, you can
Very
can you taste the
tasty.
vanilla in that?
We don't drink a lot of non-alcoholic stuff on the show, but
Yeah.
we're starting to invite more of that with
Yeah.
different variation of guests like
Absolutely.
yourself. And
Yes.
I'm kind of pleased about it because that's a pleasant tone to
Yeah.
start our next
I
segment.
love that. Yes.
Tell me about the actors. This next segment, we're going to talk about AI, and we're going to talk about the Actors Den.
Oh, Lord.
Very exciting.
Yes.
That's how we met because I reached out to
Yes,
you looking for
absolutely.
actors.
that was exciting, actually. I was like, oh, good. Because as soon as I met you and you're like, yeah, I need some actors, my actors got super excited. They're so excited. Yes, sign me up.
They
Who
were
is he?
so
What is it?
awesome. I mean, they did such. Your
Thank you.
son was incredible.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed working with him.
Yeah, you met
And
Crosby, my son.
yeah.
And Clay. Clay's like another
Clay was
son
really
to me.
awesome.
Been with me a long time.
And the firefighter, what was his name? He's one of your students, right?
Yes, God. Oh, Lord. What's his name now? I'm going to draw a
Kinda-
blank. He hasn't been with me for like 2 years now.
Kind of stunk for him because some of the stuff we were supposed to film with him didn't happen.
But you know what? I hadn't talked to him in a while because he had to go into firefighting because his dad wanted him. He needed something else to fall back on. But he was very excited. As soon as I asked him, he didn't hesitate one bit. He's like, when and where?
They communicated really well.
Yeah.
They reached out. Tell me about the Actors Den and your mission to help these students. And what is the mission and what are you trying to achieve with these students?
My mission is always to make sure that they are first and foremost being themselves. I said, first and foremost, I just want you to be yourself times 2. I don't want you to have to be a chameleon and act like somebody else and be somebody else. I want you to dress up your own characters, bring out the intent of your own character, the who's, what's, the whys, the wheres, and everything like that. We have so much fun doing this too because they're like, oh, Miss KeriAnne, you mean I can dress my character up any way I want to? And I said, absolutely, you can. You can, but let's stay, scripted. Stay on script with it,
Do you do it's been so long.
That's
What
okay.
is the exercise with your jaw? With the movement of your mouth?
Well, so that's
humming?
the tongue twisters that
Yeah.
we do. We do a lot of tongue twisters in there.
Talk about that for a minute.
Well, the tongue twisters are interesting because it helps them read better. It gives them, it helps release stress in their jaw, their tongue. They don't get as tongue-tied when they're reading their scenes and stuff like that. So, for example, let's see if I can do this without messing it up. The big black bug bit a big black bear, and the big black bear bled black blood. And they have to say that 3 times. And I asked them, please just enunciate. Yeah, so let's start with the bug. Ready? The big black bug.
The big
The big
The big black bug bit a big
black
bear,
bear, and the big black bear bled black
blood.
Yeah, you do it on your own.
The big say it one more time.
Black bug bit
The
a
big
bear.
black bug bit a big black.
The
Tim, Edge, you can't interrupt our show with laughter. The big black bug bit a. I can't even do it anymore. The big black bug bit a big black bear, and the big black bear drew
bled
black blood. I got it. Let's move on.
He almost had it, so that's okay. That's all right.
So
the tongue twisters are really good, and then we go into doing a monologue work or a scene.
we're losing it on this show, and there's no alcohol on this show. How is this happening? Go ahead.
Then unique New York. Say that 3 times.
Unique New York, unique New York, unique New York.
You know you live and need unique New York.
You know you live in unique. You know you need
unique New York.
Unique New York.
Yeah.
You know you need unique New York.
Yeah.
You know you need unique. You know.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, that's very good, actually. And Sally Sells Seashells by the Seashore is a big one for the smaller kids. You'd be surprised.
Tim Edge skips through the tulips in the middle of the night.
I do.
Yeah. So the mission.
That sounds
with
lovely,
the
by the way,
students.
Tim.
So how do you incorporate technology in your teaching methods at the Actors Den? Do you use any sort? Because we talked earlier about how you love the simplicity way back when we were coming up.
I do. I like the realism
Yeah.
of acting, I like natural emotion, I think that you get, I think it's overwhelming in
Yeah.
today's world with the CGI stuff and everything, but we'll get into
We'll get into the
that in just a
CGI,
little
but
while.
how are you incorporating technology? Are you using any? I know you are because you're having to communicate. You're having to Zoom probably with some students.
Yes.
You're doing some of that, so there's that technology.
Exactly. I have my students doing screen test live.
Okay.
Through Zoom, and that
How does that
technology.
work?
Oh,
How does that work?
amazing! It's amazing. So, all of them go on at the same time. I mean, there could be like 30, 40, whatever on at the same time. And they're auditioning in front of agencies.
Wow.
And yeah, it's amazing that they can do that. You can literally be in your own room, set it up, have your computer open. I love this. I love this part of it because you don't have to travel to Los Angeles or the big cities or Atlanta. You can just sit in the comforts of your own home. You can, so you go on Zoom and you're getting ready to do your scene. So you practice. You have like a good couple weeks to practice with your scene partner. And then when it's time to do screen test live, you have like 9 to 10 agencies that are going to be on Zoom with them, that are going to watch them perform and they do it in pairs, 2 at a time.
But being in their own home, are they able, do you feel like they're expressing themselves more and they're really getting into character more because they have that privacy, even though they're on Zoom with these folks?
Tim, I do. I really think they're more relaxed. They can just come out of their shell, you know. And also, I mean,
but what happens when they transition and they're on set?
I know that's very good, and we practice that in the studio. So we do go over that. We go over all of that. I make them do it in front of everybody, so they have to do their monologues and scenes in front of the class. You know.
Okay.
I sometimes make the parents stay in there because the biggest thing with my students sometimes is they don't like it when their parents are in the room because they feel judged, and they know that their parents are going to, because they know them so well, that they know that they just have to do this one look and the parent already.
I know that.
So, but they do that. They do that. But they end up, I said, if you can do this in front of your parents, then you're golden. You can do it in front of anyone, honestly. But they do it in front of the class. They do it in front of their peers, you know, the other actors. And they build up their confidence one block at a time. The more they come in, the more they learn on how to, you know, route themselves toward having more confidence. And I mean that in a way like, for example, I had one student just could not barely open the mouth to get a word out. So nervous, so just very nervous. And I said to this person,
oh no,
I said, you know what? I just want you to be yourself. Please just be yourself, but times 2. That's it. I'm giving you a script. Let's take it down. Let's break it down one line at a time. Okay? And as soon as they do that, they feel so confident. So, well, how did that sound? Let's say it again. Do that line again, but do it a different way. Let's do it 3 different ways with 3 different emotions. And how does that sound to you? And then they start feeling it and they start getting more comfortable.
they get in a rhythm.
They do. They really pick up on that. They get into their own little rhythm, you know, if you will. And they that's how they're building up their confidence. I just make them do it over and over again until it sounds right to them. I never want them to leave my studio not knowing why they did it. And I want to know what they got out of it, you know. And it's a wonderful feeling for them. It's a wonderful feeling for me as an acting coach because I've been doing this over 20 years. So
I just remember back in the day standing in line for a John Hughes film.
Yes.
And once
we called that cattle call.
Oh my God.
It was called cattle
It's
call.
horrible in the heat. And then you get in there, you're soaking wet.
Yeah.
You finally get in front of 2 or 3 people that are auditioning you. You're already worn out.
You feel like a total wreck and I know
just ready to go, and you're nervous as all get
Yes.
out. And oh my God, I remember that cattle call. I bombed the hell out of it. I just was ready to go home and have a beer.
So what did they ask you to do? Do you remember?
I don't even. Well, we had our sides, and I was reading, and I remember I was prepping for it. You get the sides once you get into the auditorium, or it was an auditorium or a gym or whatever. And I just
how'd you like those cold reads?
Yeah, no, it was awful. It was awful because I read it completely. I misread what the character was supposed to be. Supposed to be.
Yeah.
Because I only had a few minutes. They give you like
you were nervous.
few
That's
minutes.
why. Yeah.
And I was nervous.
Yeah.
And you know, when I left there, I was like, oh well.
Yeah.
Moving on.
Yes.
And you know, in the beginning, when I first got out there, rejection was really hard to take because I'm like, why don't they like me?
I think a lot of people go through that, Tim. You know?
Yeah, but you explained it. It's timing.
It's timing.
It's the look.
Yeah.
It's all of these things. So we talked about collaboration between the agencies and your students, and I'm sure the students collaborate the same way using Zoom. How do you prepare the students, for a future where AI might play a significant role in their careers. I mean, because the world is a changing.
This is all new for me too.
All this
you know,
deep
so,
fake stuff,
yeah.
and I mean, Fast and the Furious comes to mind with Paul Walker.
Paul Walker, yeah.
I mean, the
Oh,
newest
yeah.
one, he's in it,
Yeah, it's
but
too
he's
much.
been
Yeah.
gone for so long, and it looks
It's
mostly real.
well, I had to make my notes because I wanted to make sure that I didn't skip a beat with you.
Yeah,
on
absolutely.
this. You know, and I think that for me, it can feel artificial. You know, first and foremost, for me, because
Yeah.
I come from the 70s, 80s. You know, and so I know what's real and what's not. You know, especially when characters or environments appear too digitally perfect. You can tell when something's just too perfect.
Yeah.
You know, I am personally, for me, I come from a very imperfect world. I'm the most perfect person. Does that make sense? I'm
Yes.
the most imperfect person, whatever. But I feel like if you dress something up way too much, then it just looks fake. It's almost just like when people are putting filters on their faces and everything these days. It's like nobody wants to, and I feel that way with movie making, because movie making it means a lot to me. I love a good movie, and I have to feel it, and it has to reel me in, right? So with I don't know if I'm answering your question or not.
No,
but
yeah.
I feel like
Keep going.
okay. Let me put my glasses on because I don't make my notes. But first of all, it's limiting creative freedom or forcing studios to prioritize visual effects over story.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
How does that make sense to you? Because it makes sense. But anyway, but there are some key points to it. There's some good stuff with it.
So when you talk about, to me, it depends on the movie being made.
Sure it does. If it's action, thriller.
Yeah, but even in
Right.
the action movies, it's really hard when the entire thing is CGI versus little hints.
Like Jurassic Park.
Yeah, well, little hints of
Yeah.
CGI.
Yeah.
Like where they're using a little bit of CGI just to kind of...
Just enough to complement it.
Just to complement it.
What's already been done. Yeah.
And, you know, I think Spielberg is good with that.
Very
And-
good. Isn't he?
Yeah.
Yes.
It's one of my favorites.
He's doing mine too.
Well, I'm all across the spectrum because I like
yeah.
Scorsese, you know,
Yeah.
you know, and I love mafia movies.
Oh, yeah.
But I also love one of my favorite movies of all time is E.T.
Oh, come on.
People don't know
We all
that,
love
but
E.T., yes.
you got the throwback to the 80s.
Yes.
You know, everything
Yeah.
in there resonated with us as kids. But it was, you know, and he used to, I think it was what's the proper little person, or, you know, in a, I think E.T. was a mix of animatronics and someone in a suit.
Yes, absolutely.
So,
But even then, it just seemed more natural for me. I don't know why.
but
it
and we'll
wasn't
get into
overdone.
that
you know?
because that's the evolution of
Right.
CGI. I mean, Star Wars was
It
filmed
started
back
with,
when
yeah,
CGI really,
back in the 70s.
yeah, and they had
So
to
long
use
ago.
modeling. They
Yeah,
had
they
to use
did.
modeling.
Yeah. Yes.
So, but getting back on topic here,
Yeah.
we're talking about AI. Let's stay on the AI topic. So, deep fakes is a real concern for a lot of actors. And wasn't there a negotiation between SAG and AMPTP? See, now you got me. My tongues are totally twisted.
You need some tongue twisters.
The big black bear.
Generative
I can
AI
catch that.
became the major sticking point back in July. Studios claim they offered a groundbreaking AI proposal that protects actors' digital likenesses, because otherwise they'd be able to use them in whatever and not pay them.
Well, that's the thing. You know, it's very disheartening when I was listening to that and hearing it. And Fran Drescher, really, she was, you know, so upset about it, and she made it known to everybody in the SAG-AFTRA industry how upset she really was. She wasn't holding back, and she wasn't, you know. But to me, it's like, you know, what about the background actors? You know, what was going to happen with background actors? What was going to happen to them was they're going to be cut right out. Why? Because CGI has stepped in, and they've recorded, videoed, whatever they do. They've taken all the background. They're going to reuse it for
And then
other
they
things
just
and reuse
piece it in, like
piece
in
it
a
in.
Coliseum. I wonder if the new Gladiator movie.
See?
What did they do there? I haven't seen
I
it
don't
yet.
know.
I want to go see that.
I haven't seen
but-
it. Yeah, I haven't seen
think
it yet.
about that. They
Yeah.
can trickle in all
Yeah.
those likenesses of the actors. You don't know when you're watching the movie because you're focused on the main characters.
Right. And I encourage my actors to go work on and be background. I want them to be on the set. I want them to get their foot in the door. I want them to see how things are done on a day-to-day basis
Yeah.
on being on the set of a movie. And but if they come in and wipe them out, there's no background. That's it.
Yeah. We're getting a little short on time.
Okay, yep.
So I'm going to ask you one more question before we get into
Sure. Okay,
the
shoot.
third segment.
Yep.
Give me one of your biggest challenges and one of your biggest rewards of running the Actors Den.
One of my biggest challenges, probably to convince the new students that come in that they're just not ready yet when they are completely ready in their own minds. Oh, I'm ready to do acting. I want to get an agent today,
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And so that's a challenge for me because, you don't want to let them down. You don't want to be that one to just kind of burn their little fire out, So for me, that's a big challenge because you don't want to hurt their feelings. So I'm just very matter of fact. I'm like, well, you have to have some training, Let's see how much natural ability you have. And then let's, go from there.
But they also have to learn
But
rejection.
they have to learn rejection.
Yeah.
And absolutely. So I was just going to say, if you're on the set of a movie and you're in the middle of doing a scene and you got lucky enough to get in there so quickly and you mess something up or you say something wrong or your actions weren't right on the mark, the last thing you want is a director yelling at you going,
Yeah. Are you stupid?
Do we have any acting
Yeah.
capabilities here? Did you have any acting classes?
Yeah.
And it's interesting, but the most rewarding for me would be to see them getting signed with an agency because they are ready.
Yeah.
And to have those beautiful little notes that they write me behind closed doors and they send it to me on a text or an
awesome.
email. Or they'll call me and they just thank you for everything that you've done for my child. If it weren't for you, they wouldn't have gotten this far. They wouldn't have, So they call me a little diamond in the rough. And I laugh about that. I'm like, okay. Never considered myself a diamond in the rough. But it sounds pretty
You are if you're catapulting,
Yeah.
someone who has the real desire and the real passion to move forward with it and not just doing it as a side thing. You know, when they dive into it
I'm
full
so
throttle,
passionate. Yeah.
you're the catalyst for that.
I'm so passionate about what I do. I really, it takes me hours to get curriculum ready because I try to, gear it toward them.
On that note,
Yeah.
let's have another beer.
Let's do that. Sounds good. I was wondering when you're going to have
Edge, what do you got?
All right. So our last beer that we have is the Krabby's Ginger Beer from the brewing company John Krabby's & Co. Beer in Scotland. For more than 200 years, Krabby's has shipped its ginger beer from the Far East following the pioneering footsteps of the first Scots merchant adventurers, hence their distinctive elephant trademark. Following a top-secret recipe, the steeped ginger is combined with the quality ingredients and matured for 8 weeks to release a deliciously distinctive flavor.
Yeah, that's distinctive, all right.
I was just going to say, ditto.
I'm not.
So,
It's
yeah. Well, to me,
Tim, I'm going to need a good lager after this. So.
We've got a lot.
I'm kidding. No, it's good. Well, we're going to dive in.
Yes,
So
yeah.
just to kind of continue off that last segment a little bit, we were audience, we were talking about CGI in modern films. KeriAnne, films that are all CGI, yay or nay? I think I know the answer to that.
ask that again.
Films that are all CGI,
Oh.
yay or nay?
Nay. Are you
Nay.
kidding me? Is that a rhetorical question?
Well, in the past, we talked
Especially
about
for us at our age,
filmmakers solely depended on practical effects back in the day and optical tricks to shape audience perception, utilizing techniques like camera angles and lens selection and elaborately designed sets.
I love that.
Now it's easier because everything's digital. I know I'm in the middle of editing a video right now and how much easier it is than it was just 20 years ago.
Yes.
to edit, and
I
how much
agree.
more powerful the machines are to enable us
Yeah.
to do that. But yeah, watching techniques in old movies, and we talked about Star Wars earlier, how they built a model set.
They did. Yeah.
And
that
they
was more exciting.
brought those planes in, or the spaceships,
Yeah.
and hovered above, and the way it gave that appeal that they were flying in space.
Yes.
When CGI didn't really exist. It really wasn't there. Chroma key was,
I love that.
kind of there.
I want to
but
get back to that,
I do too.
It's just it's too much time. It's time consuming, and I think that's why they just want to nix it. But I love it. I think it shows your creativity.
And they used to paint,
Yes.
paint by hand.
Yeah. Oh, all the time. They'd always have that someone coming in and doing the murals and it was awesome.
Now it's green
Now it's
screens
green screen and
volumetric
yeah.
LEDs and,
Yeah.
and all of those things, and
Yes.
the set extensions were painted,
Yeah.
and the backdrops were painted. We don't have any.
I
of
think
that
use it where it really needs to be used, Tim. Like I think that when there's for stunts, environmental stuff, if you just can't create it, just
Yeah.
put a little, little something there. But I had made a note. It says to enhance character design and animation. Okay,
Okay.
that's wonderful.
Yeah.
If you have CGI for things like that, I think it makes it more creative.
Oh yeah,
it's
Toy Story.
Toy Story, yes. One of
that's
my
That's
favorites.
the first one that comes to mind.
Absolutely.
They did
That's
an
a good one.
amazing. I mean, it won what? How many awards? I mean, that is an amazing example of that.
Absolutely.
Use of technology.
And just and it's very pleasing though. It's not overwhelming. It's not too much. It's
What
not.
about Avatar?
I
what are your-
wasn't a big Avatar fan.
Really?
Like you probably are.
Big,
but I mean,
yeah.
I'm not. That's just it wasn't for me.
I
But
think
what
I
did you like about it?
I think I like the story
well, I mean, yeah,
more than anything.
Yeah.
In that, especially the first one.
yeah.
I just thought the story was a great story to be
Yeah.
told, and the way it introduced the characters.
Yeah.
The CGI
story's very
characters. The way the CGI characters were introduced at the beginning, when he steps into that character.
How did it make
and
you
he runs
feel?
off the
Just
set.
Like
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah, it
Touched
was
you.
exhilarating. So how would you teach
I would-
aspiring actors to interact with CGI elements? Tell me, because that's a thing, right?
Wow. Is it?
I don't know. I mean,
How would they do it?
now if they're going in for a TV show, obviously there's not going to be a whole lot of CGI, but if they're going into a movie with CGI and they've never done that before, if you're interacting with a dinosaur
Yeah.
that's coming down and breathing on you,
Well, that's interesting. I'm not sure if I can answer it 100% the way you probably need me to, but I always have my students pretend like I'll put something right in front of them and I'll follow them around the room, like my clapperboard,
yeah.
and I'll follow them around the room. I'm like, now just pretend this is something else.
Okay.
Okay. I need you to just stay
Interact.
focused.
Okay, there you go.
I need you to stay focused. I need you to say your lines just like you normally would, but except this is going to be in front of you, or we're going to put it like right on the side of you, and I'm going to follow you through the room. So basically, I'm blocking them. I give them blocking points. They love that. I think it helps them to get out of their shell a little bit more, to not be distracted, because they get distracted so easily. Until I start teaching them how to do that, and then they're like, "Oh, I see what you're saying."
Have you ever given acting lessons? Are you good on time? Are you good on
Yes,
time?
I don't even know what time it is. I'm not in. Yeah. I'm
Have
good.
you ever given acting lessons to someone that just wanted to create content on social media?
I don't think they've told me about it, but I'm sure I have.
You think they are? You think that's what they're
I don't
taking the
know. That's a
lessons
good
for?
question.
You might want to ask your students that,
Okay.
because that's a
Wow.
my daughter, she's getting into doing that
Is
stuff.
she really?
Yeah,
That's wonderful.
She's an incredible editor.
Really?
Like, she edits all her own stuff, and she's 12.
Isn't it interesting though that they're born into this?
They're born into it.
They're born
I
into
mean,
it. It's second nature. for them.
technology.
It's first nature.
Without the technology,
Yeah.
we grew up changing changing a tire on a car. I don't think the kids
Yeah.
know how to do any of that.
Yes.
So how do you balance traditional? I'm zooming through these, but it's very
that's okay.
important because how do you balance traditional acting methods, like we've talked about throughout the
Right.
show, with modern technological advancements? So do you balance those methods when you're teaching your student, knowing that, you know, they're going to have to interact or do things that with not necessarily a human?
Yeah, you know, this is all new for me too.
Is
This-
it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is actually because I'm very I just want them to be who they are, be themselves.
Right.
As far as a distraction, I would go back to just saying, you know, just know that there's going to be a lot of distractions. Someone opens the door, don't look, just keep going. You know, don't worry about who's walking in. As far as I'm so old-fashioned, Tim.
No, that's good.
I love
though,
the
because-
realism of just being yourself times two. Just, you know, I'm not really up on all the CGI stuff as much as I
Yeah.
should be right now, and I need to dive
Yeah, but that's
deeper
not what
into
they're
it.
coming to you for. I'm asking
not.
that because we have to
Yeah.
get nerdy in here, but
Yeah.
they're coming to you
Yes.
to learn how to pull that character out of them and how to express their emotions in the middle of a scene, right?
Yes. They have to, they have a short time to bring out the intent of a character,
Yeah.
you know, and they have to do a good job doing it, you know. The one thing about doing television, film and television, is that you can yell cut and redo it over and over and over again. But hopefully with my students, they don't have to, you know, do it over and over again, only because they're trained to know that they need to nail it as soon as possible. Like I make sure, you know, that they don't, it's okay to mess up. You're human. You're not a robot. But at the same time, I want you to really focus on the character that you're portraying. I want you to bring out the intent of your character, dress up your character. Where are you in the room? Where are you at that? Where are you in the room? What is your?
I'm right here.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm right
So
here,
I want
KeriAnne.
them-
I'm sitting
wa-
next to you.
It helps them act better if they know where they are. You know, where are they in the scene? Where are they? You know, put yourself in that scene. Put yourself in the scene. Put yourself in that place, and then you're gonna do great. You're gonna feel it more. I'm an empathy coach, so I like to empathize.
Feel it. I
Yeah,
feel
I
it.
like the empathy.
I do. I feel it.
Can you feel it?
Yeah.
I can feel it coming in the air tonight.
Hold on.
What
That's right.
What advice would you give to actors who are just starting out?
Take your time.
Take
do it
your
right.
time.
Yeah.
Do it right.
Yes. Take
Don't
your time.
rush it.
Don't rush it. You know, as we talked about earlier in the show here, you know, fate is a hunter. Fate, you know, it's going to find them, and they're going to know when they're ready. Don't rush it. Take your time. Don't be someone you're not. Be yourself. I always go back to that. Yeah.
So we're going to close the show with a series of rapid fire questions.
Oh goodness.
Are you ready?
I think
Now
so.
you haven't been.
What's my favorite color?
Told
Pink.
any of this? Okay.
What's your favorite color?
My daughter's is purple.
Okay.
Her entire room is purple.
Oh wow.
Crazy.
That's great.
If you could only, here we go. Are you ready?
Mm-hmm.
If you could only watch one movie for the rest of your life, what would it be?
Oh, you got that from? Did you get that from me?
No, go ahead. I don't know. I don't write this.
The Breakfast Club.
Okay, I kind of knew that.
Did
but-
you? I love all the.
Well, you
I'm a
mentioned it
I need a
earlier.
T-shirt. Do you have a T-shirt for me, John Hughes? Yeah, only John Hughes movies.
No, but we do have a Nerds on Tap T-shirt for you to take home.
Ah,
So-
I'll-
and a hat.
Yes, I'll represent.
What's one piece of advice you'd give to aspiring actors in one sentence? I think you already did it.
Yeah. I would just say take your time. Don't rush it. Yeah.
Favorite celebrity encounter? Go.
I love John Travolta.
All right.
Yeah.
I love John
I lo-
Travolta.
I love
in
Kate Winslet as well.
that movie
Yes,
right there.
yes, absolutely.
My favorite
Yes.
movie he's ever done. Pulp
Why is
Fiction.
that? Why is that?
I love Pulp Fiction.
Yeah.
I'm a big.
Why do you love it though?
Quentin
Why?
Tarantino
Yes,
is
I met him.
probably my favorite.
Yes.
I mean, I can watch every single one of his movies
Yeah.
multiple times.
I got to serve him a beer.
You did?
actually, Quentin Tarantino. Yeah.
Pretty
yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
Very
well,
smart guy.
I did because we were on a nice long break. And so I was like, oh, I need a job in between. And so I worked at Barney's Beanery in Hollywood.
What's your go-to karaoke song?
Oh my God, I don't do karaoke. But
If you could sing a
if I
song,
could sing a song,
well, I think you just did.
okay, yes, In the Air Tonight.
There we go.
I would bomb it, but yeah, I don't think I would. I don't know if I'd sing that one.
Pineapple on pizza, yes or no?
No.
Good. If you were cast in a superhero movie, would you rather be the hero or the villain?
I would be the hero.
All right. If you could have dinner with any historical figure, who would it be?
Oh,
Jim Morrison.
would you?
Yeah.
You would?
Yeah.
Oh my God. Oh gosh. That's a good question.
Oh my God, I got her
know.
stumped, Tim.
My God, I would. Well, I'm trying to think of her name. Breakfast at Tiffany's. What's her name? Audrey Hepburn.
There you go. Oh, James Todd, are you listening to this? He's a big Audrey Hepburn.
I love Audrey Hepburn. Yeah.
What's a talent you have that most people don't know about? Uh-oh.
Being able to laugh at myself.
All right.
Is that a talent? I don't even know.
What's a hobby you've always wanted to try but haven't yet?
Art, drawing.
Okay. And finally, what's the last thing you binge watched? Cobra Kai?
Yeah, actually,
No?
Cobra Kai and Outlander. Yes. Yep.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for getting nerdy with me and KeriAnne Dawson for an hour or so. KeriAnne, why don't you share with the audience anything they might want to know about the Actors Den, where they can find you on social media or the internet, or how to get a hold of you in case they want to reach out and
Yes.
be a student, or if they know someone like a child that might want to get inspired, go.
Absolutely. You can come to the Actors Den, www.theactorsden.com. And it has all the information on there that you'll need. And if you have any questions, you can it has my phone number on there. You can just call me. I'm very personable.
Awesome.
There you go.
And thank you to Digital Boardwalk for sponsoring the show and Smarter Web. You can find them at digitalboardwalk.com and smarterweb.net. Thanks, and have a nerdy day. Thank you. Cheers, my fellow nerds and beer lovers. Stay tuned for more Nerds on Tap. Oh, and one more thing. Help us spread the nerdy love and the love for great brews by sharing this podcast with your friends, colleagues, and fellow beer enthusiasts. Let's build a community that embraces curiosity, innovation, and the enjoyment of a cold one.